Time for the only radio show of its kind. Auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, veterans of vintage. It's the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer. For the next hour, enjoy great information about buying and selling antiques and collectibles, and some interesting stories. Now, the Donley Auctions Hour.
Welcome to the Donley Auctions Hour. Thank you for joining us. We are here every Saturday from 1 to 2 o'clock. I'm Susan. I'm here with Randy Donley, and we are the owners of Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois. We're just 60 miles west of Chicago, and we're here today to talk about items you might have in your home that will be of value that we could put in an auction. But first of all, hi, Randy.
Hey, Susan.
Welcome back from Florida.
Yes, I am.
A lot of things going on, right? What a crazy week.
It has been.
When is it not a crazy week at Donley Auctions?
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of traveling. We've been all over this week, Wisconsin and in the Chicago suburbs like crazy. We've been everywhere.
So you're out looking for picking up items that people have called in and said, hey, can you sell this for me? And we're like, we're on our way.
You know, we are. I get right on the road. I try to do these things quickly and efficiently. And I actually go out myself. I was surprised at how many people say, well, I didn't expect you to come. And I said, whoa, thanks a lot. I don't know if that's a good thing to say or not.
Because it's all about building relationships with people. They need to see you and talk to you and know about our integrity.
Well, and the biggest reason that I go, Susan, is it's not just a matter of picking something up. You know, anybody can call and say, you know, I've got this or that. And yes, I could send a couple guys to pick that item up. But, you know, just for example, I'm in northern Wisconsin, and I was actually there just to pick up a music box. And that's all I thought we were going to get is a music box. And, of course, as I look around the house and I'm saying, well, how about this? How about that? And they were going, oh, my gosh, well, sure, I don't want that anymore. You can take this and that. Well, we ended up picking up not only one, but we ended up with 3 music boxes. We got a Victor phonograph with a beautiful wooden horn, a great hand crank phonograph, and actually a couple more phonographs, a couple Edisons, you know, that play cylinder records, and all kinds of great items like lamps. You know, very often people send us collections of lamps, and really there's nothing we want there because a lot of lamps are just low end and just don't bring any money. This lamp collection, however, had outstanding leaded glass lamps, Tiffany-style lamps, and figural lamps that, although they look like bronze, they're only made of pot metal, but because of the beautiful Art Nouveau women and designs and everything, a lot of these lamps have some really significant value. And it was a treasure trove. This house had all kinds of fun things. We picked up a hall tree that had carved bears on it and just, you know, antique clock collection. And even in the corner, there was a harp.
I saw that. We had a harp come in.
You know, a lot of the harps that we find around the Chicago area all came from Line and Healy. Line and Healy, a music store here in the city of Chicago back at the turn of the century, had an extensive line of antique harps. And they also used to have such a thing as a coin-operated harp. I swear to God. You could put in a coin and the harp would play automatically.
Wow.
Yeah.
This one doesn't do that, though.
No, not this one, but we've had them before.
That's right. And the reason we're talking about this is because we're collecting items now for our November annual Fall Classic. So it's not too early to start getting stuff in, and it's just flooding in the doors right now. So these are the type of items we're looking for.
Exactly right. And again, that's why I personally like to get out, because I recognize what we can sell.
Right.
And I can start to give pre-auction estimates right on the spot rather than the photo exchange that is traditional. I mean, normally we ask people to send us photographs.
Send us
and
an
we
email.
Look at them.
Yeah, do all that. But once you get into the house and start scanning the room, you'll find all kinds of great stuff.
And there are so many treasures that people just don't think about having value, because a lot of this stuff got handed down. It's generational, where they've inherited it. And so they've really never had to pay any money for it. It was just something that kind of was always in the house.
They moved from house to house, like that big bronze statue. That lady had moved it like 4 times. And then we finally said, well, we'll put that in an auction. She said, really? Okay, take it.
You know, I once got into a house, Susan, and I just kept looking at her kitchen table. And finally, I had to say, you know, you've got a bowl of fruit, fake fruit, on your kitchen table. I said, how attached to you are you with that bowl that it's sitting in? And she goes, well, what, that? She said, why do you ask? Well, it wasn't a glass bowl. It was actually Tico pottery, a green finish pottery that was made right in Crystal Lake. And, of course, we took that bowl and ended up selling it for $5,000.
Left the fruit on the table.
And, you know, here this thing could have been chipped up and over the years, but it wasn't. It was in excellent shape. But to just have it, you know, sitting.
So Tico still sells well, right? T-I-C-O?
No, T-E-C-O.
T-E-C-O.
As in Terracotta Company.
That's right.
They were right downtown Crystal Lake. Yeah, on Route 31.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, that company is still there, and they've got a fine display of Tico in their offices.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good to know. And so you've been out traveling. While you're out and about, I was out listening to live music.
Of course.
Working very hard.
What a surprise.
Working very hard promoting one of my favorite local bands, folks. I got to tell you about Johnny Lyons and the Pride. If you haven't seen them yet, go see Johnny Lyons. What a show. He looks like the young Elvis. Hubba hubba. Oh, my goodness.
He really
We've seen
does.
him many times.
I mean, this is a man saying this man is so attractive.
Johnny, my boy.
And he's just a phenomenal entertainer in every respect.
He writes his own songs and everything, but he does Elvis, Otis Redding, Sam Cooke, Johnny Cash, Ray Charles. He's fantastic. All I want to do is just give a quick shout out that he will be performing at the Club Speakeasy at the Arcata in St. Charles on August 18th. Folks, make your reservations. Go see Johnny Lyons. Giving him a shout out because they are big fans of our radio show. Hi, you guys. We'll see you soon. Thanks for a great show on Sunday.
And also, let's give a shout out to the Arcata itself.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Ron Onesti in St. Charles with O-Show.
You should see the events they have coming up this year. It's just
incredible.
Amazing.
Now, people might say, well, what are you talking about this for on your Antiques radio show? Well, it all ties in. People that like to collect also like that vintage music. And it's a one big full circle.
Well, and the speakeasy is full of all the items that they've bought at auction.
At Donley Auctions.
So go see
DonleyAuctions.com. Don't miss it.
That's right. So we also have things to talk about. You were somewhere else, too. You want to talk about that other stop you made?
I will, but probably on the next segment, because what I want to do is finish up this place in Wisconsin.
Oh, you're not done. There's more.
No, of course there's
much more.
So as I'm leaving, the daughter says, well, you know, you always promote for military relics. I want to show you a few things in, quote, the barn.
Yeah, she said she saw that on our website.
Yep. So we go out to the barn, and she, shows me what I'm just in disbelief. It was cut out of a Sherman tank, and this was the machine gun port from the front of a Sherman tank. It has been removed, and we're going to have it in our September auction. It's an incredible piece of history.
Wow.
And the steel is 3 inches thick.
I saw that.
Yes, absolutely incredible. And she said, well, you know, as long as you're taking this, what about these cannon barrels? There was a cannon barrel off of a ship, off of a Navy ship. This thing must be 28 foot long and a 6-inch bore. I mean, just absolutely incredible.
You didn't bring that back with you.
Not yet.
I didn't see that. Oh, so you got to go back
but
and get
I'm going
it.
back.
Okay.
And,
wow.
and right next to that, there's a barrel for a tank. Just absolutely, incredible stuff. She gives me for auction a seat out of a jet fighter, and just fun stuff.
And that's all coming up in our Guns and Military Auction, September 23rd and 24th.
Right.
So if you have anything like that to consign as well, leave us an email at consign@DonleyAuctions.com.
You bet. It's certainly not too early. You should be consigning at this point in time.
That's right.
Anything in uniforms, weapons of all kinds, swords, bayonets, daggers, even ammo. You know,
we love ammo.
Speaking of which, we have a big auction coming up with artillery shells and ordnance. That's just an incredible collection that we have to go pick up in Virginia.
Only like 1,000 items.
Right. And heavy.
Yeah, we'll be getting that. We'll have more information on that coming up, too. But I want to touch base real quick on that September auction about the 22 snake guns that we got in.
You know, and by snake guns, that's a title. Colt pythons and anacondas. It's not for shooting snakes.
That's right. That's right. They're beautiful, excellent condition. We'll talk more about that in the next segment, too. But coming up next, I want to talk about, get this, potato chips.
Okay.
We've got a story for everybody there. And some of the upcoming auctions, too, coming up August 7th. We have 3 excellent collections, lamps and lanterns, Native American items, and fishing lures and reels. We'll tell you more about that, too. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour right here on AM 560, The Answer.
They've been called auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, even veterans of vintage. And they can introduce themselves. Thanks for listening. This is the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back to the Donley Auctions Hour. I'm Susan. I am co-owner of Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois, here with my partner today, Randy Donley. Randy, you were also in Highland Park this weekend. Tell us about that pickup, because it ties into what we're looking for in people's homes for our November annual Fall Classic.
Well, it does, Susan. And again, one of the reasons that I always say I go on these leads is because you don't know what you have sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I have to get out there and eyeball the situation. So I went to the northern suburbs, and I was supposed to pick up, which I did, a Mills Violano.
Okay. Remind our listeners what a Mills Violano is. Okay.
Mills Company was right in Chicago. The Mills family had a mansion, actually, right in Oak Park. Very, very phenomenal home and so on and so forth. So the Mills family used to make slot machines and just about anything coin operated, Nickelodeons, games of all kinds and that. So you name it, Mills made it. And what they did is they combine a piano with a self-playing violin. And what an incredible invention. It was so popular that the United States government put a tag in there saying it was one of the 8 great inventions of the decade back in 1912. Mm-hmm. So for a nickel, this big machine would play a piano and a violin with a paper roll. It was just absolutely incredible. So I picked up one of those machines.
Good.
And, of course, as I'm looking around, what else is there?
What else you got?
A treasure trove again. A big antique phone booth, which people always like a phone booth in their rec room and so on and so forth. Another large advertising nipper dog, a wooden cash register, an antique claw digger machine that you'd put a coin in and a claw would go down and you'd pick up a prize. Mm-hmm. But this is the antique version of that. All kinds of great.
I saw the Carnival High Striker game. I mean, Carnival games still sell very well.
There's so much of it around the city of Chicago because years ago, Mayor Daley wanted to have a better image for the city of Chicago, and he was cleaning up the various areas and districts. And State Street in Chicago, back in the 30s, 40s, 50s, was really an interesting burlesque and arcade district, so to speak, in the city of Chicago. And it really had gotten to be unsavory at best. And Mayor Daley loved the city of Chicago, and he really always wanted a better image. He wanted a crime-free, perfect city. If he could, well, he did. He cleaned up the city, and he decided that State Street, unfortunately, had to change, and he wanted it to be retail and a high-end district. So the old arcades had to go. So all this great penny arcade memorabilia, so to speak, and burlesque stuff became on the market because as all these businesses closed, they had to sell off all this stuff. And it ended up in again, rec rooms and basements and everything all over the city of Chicago. And it was just a phenomenal time that the arcades were all being closed up at the exact time in history that people were really starting to collect it. So it was like a perfect storm, and all this stuff became available in the cities. And for actually all these years, from the 60s to now, again, it's been squirreled away in private collections and everything, and not available. So now, as the collecting age, gets older, and these people are wanting to, liquidate.
Downsize, yeah.
Donley Auctions to the rescue.
Right. So you found some slot machines in that house as well, didn't you?
Yep. There were slot machines and just all kinds of fun stuff. And some of the items were great advertising pieces, which brings us to a great piece of Chicago history.
Is this where we get to talk about potato chips?
I think so.
Okay,
I think we've got time in this segment.
I told them we were going to talk about potato chips. Go ahead, tell them what you found.
Well, I found a Japs potato chip can. Now, everybody is familiar with the brand Jay's.
Right.
Jay's. But what most people don't realize is it was the Japs family that started the potato chip business with their name, J-A-P-P. Jap.
That's right, Leonard Jap.
But then, 1941, Pearl Harbor is attacked, and the name Jap becomes very unpopular anywhere in the United States.
They told them they need to change that immediately.
So Japs potato chips became Jay's.
Right. It took them a week. And the original first name they were going to come up with was Jax, J-A-X, but they couldn't because it was already used for a brewery. So they came up with the word Jay's, and it has stuck.
Well, and it's interesting because there was already one of their competitors, I think, in New York, that was named Lay's. So there was Lay's potato chips. They became Jay's potato chips. A little close.
That's
but,
right. And we can also thank Al Capone for kind of encouraging them. He wanted them to bring salty snacks to his speakeasies.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that, because I wasn't even aware of that. I knew that the Jay's company had started with pretzels, and I never really understood how the transition was made into potato chips.
That's right. Well, Al Capone discovered them in, was it Sarasota, Florida, and found them there and wanted them back in Chicago at his speakeasy. So he talked to Leonard Jap and told him, I need salty snacks at my speakeasies, and that's the story. So we'll see if
the original potato chip can was actually called Mrs. Fisher's because
Mrs. Japs.
Or Mrs. Japs, of course.
That's your other favorite chip that
it is
not the same anymore.
I love the Fisher's
I know
brand.
You like your Fisher's,
and that's peanuts. But the Japs, Mrs. Japs, that was her recipe.
That's right. That was her recipe. And she also would include dinner recipes on the bags of chips. So on the canister, we're talking not a can, but like a big canister is what they used to keep the chips in.
Well, you were yelling at me today. I keep calling it a can.
It was not yelling.
Yes, you were.
Like you're talking about a soup can, or you're talking about the big canisters?
Exactly. They're a very large container, a tin container.
Yes.
That has Japs potato chips on it.
Right on it. Yes.
And they're very valuable.
Yeah. So what do you think that's going to go for?
It'll probably hit about $1,000.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
And that's coming up in a November auction as well.
And the interesting thing about this particular potato chip can is it has crossover collectability. See, it's a great advertising piece, and it has a great history and story about it. And they're quite rare because, they were made for so few years, because by 1941, those cans don't exist. But military collectors, see, as a kid, I always collected military relics, and I knew the story of the Japs potato chip can. So I was always in search of one of these tins, or you'll call it containers, because I wanted it for my military collection, not because of advertising. I just thought it was a neat piece of military history.
That's right.
Yeah.
And they ended up selling out eventually to Snyder's. So that's what happened to the old Jay's Potato Chip Company.
Well, and I do think they may still be in business today. Correct me, but I think they're still in Indiana. The Japs family bought the company back in around 2004 or something like that.
Oh, then they're in Indiana now.
And
okay.
then they resold, but I do think they're still in business some way. As Jay's.
I remember when you first started taking me to consignment malls, antique shops. I don't collect anything. I didn't know anything about antiques until I met you, and I said, okay, I need a goal.
Show me stuff.
Show me stuff that's of value. What am I looking for in all of this stuff?
Yeah.
And that was one thing you said was look for a canister that says Japs Potato Chips on it. So still to this day, 16 years later, I'm still looking in the shops for the one item.
Yeah.
And now one walked in the door. So we have it coming up in a November auction.
Yes.
If you have items like this, folks, interest that you might have in your home, give us a call at 815-923-7000. Tell us what you have. I'd love to hear about it. Or you can leave us an email at consign@donleyauctions.com. We'd love to see some photos. Tell us where you're located. I'll send Randy out on the road any day to come see what you have in your home. But stay with us. We're going to be talking about some upcoming auctions, a little update on the Donley Group, all kinds of interesting stuff coming up next. You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour here on AM 560, The Answer.
You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back to the Donley Auctions Hour. I'm Susan, and here with Randy Donley of Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois. We're just 60 miles west of Chicago, folks, and we are here today to tell you about some upcoming auctions that we have, and wanted to find out if you have anything of interest that you might want to put in an auction. Who's ready to downsize?
Yeah,
don't we need to thin out the world here? People need to start downsizing their homes and get a little more minimalistic, I think.
Well, and I just brought that up in one of our earlier segments today, and that is the rec rooms that everybody had. Everybody built these rec rooms. They all had a slot machine, a jukebox, and a pool table.
Right.
And, it was that World War II.
And a neon sign somewhere.
Yeah, the World War II generation, that the whole group came home from the war and lived life differently. I mean, these people had just saved the world. Right. I mean, it was just incredible. And they decided that they were going to party. And they did. They all built party rooms in their homes. Their basements became little bar rooms. There was a bar and, like I say, a slot and a jukebox, and they partied every weekend. Well, these rec rooms now, for the most part, are laying dormant, just laundry rooms, so to speak.
Right.
And we're called in to liquidate all the fun stuff in there.
I know. I love it. Speaking of fun stuff, we have an online-only auction coming up August 7th. That's, next week already.
Boy, that is.
3 different collections. So we don't have to have an auction of just one type of collection, right? We can mix it all together and try to get it out to the masses of people with lots of eyeballs on it. So coming up August 7th, we have some lamps and lanterns. And like the railroad lamps and the ship lamps and inspector lamps, those type is what I'm talking about. The handheld kind and the lamps that you can put on an actual table. Brands such as Dietz, Gem, Ham, Rayo, all kinds of great stuff. About 200 lamps coming up in that auction.
Lamps and lanterns. I'm glad you brought that up because, there's all kinds of lighting devices. Let's put it that way. So you really need to check this auction out. It's an online only. And this was an interesting one. This came out of Elgin, Illinois, where we had been called in for a gun collection. So, of course, we'll look through the rest of the house because the house needed to be sold. It needed to be emptied out. It was an inheritance situation. And we'll talk about that next in our next segment with Shauna with the Donley Group because we can sell the house for you also. But this particular house had this huge lamp collection in it. And again, how do you sell 300 lighting devices?
Right.
Where the gentleman who bought all these things probably used to just do garage sales and go around all over to the neighborhood and just pick up things for $1 here and $1 there and pretty soon there's 300 lamps, So,
well, what I find interesting is all the questions we're getting about them. We put it up online, and now people are asking, is there a marking here? Is there a crack there?
Sure,
They're asking about the glass part of it and, but the condition of items. So that tells me there's some interest.
Well, yeah. And then, of course, we've combined the lamp collection with fishing lures and
reels.
And reels. And how does that tie in? Well, it doesn't, but it doesn't need to. It's an online auction, so you can bid online. Go to
DonleyAuctions.com. That's our website, and there'll be just a big red button. You can't miss it. Press on the button. It'll take you directly to the auction.
So, at any rate, a gentleman was clearing out his summer home, and all the stuff had been framed on the walls and hanging there forever. So they bring in all these framed items, and what we did is we separated some of the lures because some of the lures should be sold separately.
Right.
I mean,
they're valuable on their own.
There's lures worth hundreds of dollars on their own.
Right.
And then there's lures that, they're only going to bring $50 for 50 of them. Who knows? So our job is to separate it for you and get you the most money that we can. We don't just take collections in and just
dump it.
Right.
We do look at every single thing. There's some flow line reels in there, some South Bend reels. We also have Hedon, I think you say Hedon, lures, Alphos, wigglers, all kinds of great stuff. So
wigglers, you like to say that, don't you?
Yeah, I like that word. But the other part of the auction on August 7th is the Native American items. Oh, my gosh, the rugs and the baskets and the miscellaneous items that we have are from a collection of the Comerics. And Carol Comeric was a talented Chicago area artist known for her contemporary sculptures. And her work was widely exhibited, including the Chicago Library Cultural Center. So all of these items that she has collected in the family are now coming up for auction August 7th.
Right. And it truly is an amazing collection. If you like Native American, there's just all kinds of great pieces there.
That's right. Carol's art was influenced by her passion for collecting Native American artifacts and textiles, which she and her husband, Bob, acquired from reservations and trading posts over many years of travel in the southwestern United States.
Right. At a period of time that all this was, really being done by Native Americans, unlike a lot of things you buy in the stores today, unfortunately, it's being passed off as Native American.
Yeah, so if you have, again, items for auction, big collections, one item only, give us a call. Donley Auctions does it all, 815-923-7000. And stick with us after this next break, folks, because we're going to have Shauna Donley on the line with us to talk about an update with the Donley Group. And we'll give you some little bit of information on how you can actually bid at an auction, right?
Sounds like fun.
You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour right here every single Saturday on AM 560, The Answer.
And now, more of the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer.
We are back with the Donley Auctions Hour. Susan and Randy Donley here. Thanks for sticking with us. We are owners of Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois, and we've been talking about all kinds of stuff these last few segments, upcoming auctions and everything. But this segment, we're going to talk with Shauna Donley, who's on the line with us about a new entity we're starting with the company called the Donley Group. Hi, Shauna. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Susan. Hi, Randy. Thanks for having me.
Honey, I really appreciate you coming on.
That's Shauna's
always,
Randy's daughter, by the way.
Yes, I can say honey.
Yes, you can say that.
And so tell us, kind of more, remind everybody what we're doing and what the Donley Group is specifically.
Of course. So the Donley Group is a residential real estate brokerage group that works with At Properties Christie's International. I've been in real estate for over 10 years, buying, selling, investing, helping clients rent, you name it. I'm assisting. I advise people. So does my team. That's the beautiful thing. We have partners in all 50 states. We're licensed in Illinois, Wisconsin. I have direct partners in Indiana and Iowa. So wherever you're looking to move, we can help you. But the real estate market is always in flux. I say this every week when we're on the radio. It's always changing. And so there are a lot of micro markets. So it's hard to get statistics for any one specific spot. But, we are in Chicago, the northwest suburbs, western suburbs, southwest suburbs, North Shore.
Wow.
So, again, all the markets are a little bit different, but we really are kind of experiencing a shift is what people are anticipating. So right now, it's been a seller's market for a long time. The interest rates have not slowed that down. We're still seeing record prices for sales. So sellers, it's a great time. Give us a call if you're looking to sell. But with the sustainment of these high interest rates, prices are going to start flattening out, if not starting to come down.
Wow. Okay. I want to remind everybody out there that one of the reasons that we got involved so heavily into real estate is simply because we get the call all the time to come into homes, help us sell, because we've inherited or we're downsizing or, they just, want to get out of Illinois. And so we normally get in at a period of time that everything is for sale. And so not only can we help sell all your antiques in your home, but why not? We do the real estate also.
That's right. Shauna, how can people get a hold of you?
Well, you can definitely go to our website, donleyauctions.com. We have a real estate tab on the menu bar at the top, and my information is right up there. So you can call me directly. My cell phone number is right there.
Okay, so people can call you direct at any time. They're not going through some mega switchboard or anything. When they want to contact Shauna Donley, they can get right through to you.
Yes, they can.
Right to my personal cell phone.
Wow, nice. Very nice. That's one thing that I can't stand is trying to get somebody on the phone and you go through this whole rigmarole and you get put on hold. I mean, I've been on the phone 15 minutes and never got through to the person I wanted to talk to. So I'm really proud of the fact that people can reach us very quickly, very easily.
Exactly. But Randy, I wanted to bring up something that you actually just mentioned about what happens when people inherit estates. So one of the biggest things that I'd like people to understand is that right now, more than 50% of all people who have mortgages in the U.S. are paid off more than 50%. So if you inherit a house, more than likely, the majority of people are not inheriting debt. They're inheriting a house that can be sold and you can walk away with the money.
Right. And I mean, big money. So often I'm always there telling people, don't worry about the antiques so much because the real money's in the real estate. We're talking maybe anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000 in antiques, whereas we're talking sometimes hundreds of thousands or more in the real estate. So the real estate really is important.
Well, exactly. And right now, with all of the homes that we've been getting calls on and that we're going into, we have new listings coming on the market weekly. And we are at all different price points. We have homes listed currently from $300,000 up to $1.8 million. Wow. And everything in between. Condos, single family homes, multi-unit buildings. We do it all. And these are not just my real estate clients, but they're our clients. And we are really helping people move on to the next steps of their lives.
Fabulous. We were, you and I were just in Lake Geneva this last week, actually looking for a second location or an additional location for Donley Auctions.
Not a lake house for us?
Not yet.
No, not yet. Okay, we'll get there.
That's right. We're looking at commercial space in downtown Lake Geneva to open a potential second auction gallery.
Right. That's going to be fun because we want to be in Lake Geneva.
Right on Main Street.
You got it.
Oh, my gosh. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, that's going to be fun because we'll actually plan on doing auctions right there. So if anybody out there, don't know who's listening, if you have a space in mind, or as Susan said, if you've got some lakefront property to rent us or sell us for our own residence, call Shauna right away.
Or a building that even has an apartment upstairs. I'll take that, too.
There you go.
A lot of fun stuff happening at Donley Auctions, folks. Again, you can get a hold of us at 815-923-7000. Click on the tab that says Real Estate, and you'll get right to Shauna. Right, Shauna? Thank you so much for your time today, and we'll talk to you soon. Upcoming auctions, we're going to talk about in the next segment. We have a lot of stuff happening, but most importantly, we're here for you. We're a one-stop shop, Donley Auctions. You can even send us an email at consign, CONSIGN, at donleyauctions.com. Tell us what you have. We're here to help you. We want to help you downsize. Go out in your garage right now.
Big or small, Donley Auctions does it all.
That's right. Don't go anywhere. Stick with us after this next break. You're listening to the Donley Auctions. We're going to talk about the upcoming dates again. I don't know if we had a chance to go through all of that. But you're listening to us right here on AM 560, The Answer.
The Donley Auctions Hour continues now on AM 560, The Answer.
We are back with the Donley Auctions Hour, talking about items you might have in your home that might be of value, and you might want to put it in one of our auctions. Let me tell you, folks, these auctions that we have coming up for the rest of the year, amazing. We have a lot of stuff happening, and now is the time. So we're going to run through the schedule, I would say, right now. You have the schedule in your hand, Randy.
You know, I do. I'll hand it to you. But one thing I want to talk about, one of the first things coming up is the Partlow barn auction. And, you know,
Barns.
Barns, plural, yeah. And auctions,
one
plural.
One of many auctions, yes.
Exactly. I mean, this place is packed. But it's an interesting collage and grouping of items because, you know, there's something for everybody. It's not all antiques. I mean, the machinery and the tools and everything. This gentleman had unlimited funds to buy whatever he wanted. And the barns
it's
are
all up
full.
for auction. That's right. And that auction is Saturday, August 5th. And it's in Marengo.
It's in Marengo, and it's live only, folks. You can't do this online with us. You have to come live. And believe me, it's worth your time because there's no minimums. Everything is going to be sold.
Right.
If something goes for $1, it's going to be sold. I mean, so whoever shows up is going to walk home with the items. And, you know, of course, it's a pickup only. Have to come there live. Bring your trucks, your trailers, and everything. You will not be disappointed. It's just full.
Go to our website at donleyauctions.com. There's a really interesting drone video of the property. Have you seen that yet? It's fantastic.
You know, I haven't seen it.
It really shows you what's out there.
Yeah. Interesting.
So go to donleyauctions.com for that. Coming up also, we talked a little bit about Monday, August 7th, the lamps and lures and all the Native American stuff. That's online only. Mm-hmm. So you have to get online to do that. DonleyAuctions.com. Press the red button. September. All right, we're already into September.
Wow.
The antique camera collection.
Yeah, that's quite an amazing collection because it's the International Photography Hall of Fame from St. Louis.
That's right.
And we've moved it all it's in Arlington Heights right now.
We're actually going to head over there and see how they're doing.
Yeah, the progress on that. It's an incredible collection of, you know, photographic memorabilia.
All kinds of stuff, lenses and old cameras, newer cameras, vintage cameras, all kinds of parts and pieces. So if you are a photography guru,
enthusiast,
this would be
for
sure. Come on out to Arlington Heights. We'll have more information on that. That's September 9th and 10th. And that is live and online.
That's correct.
So I think a lot of the higher end items will be going online as well. But there's tons of stuff that will be sold
for
live.
Viewing, though, I think we're going to have to keep it. People are going to have to come to Arlington Heights, not to Union.
Right. Arlington Heights.
Actually, it's closer for most of you. Those of you who live in the city and suburbs, Arlington Heights will be a little closer to get to than coming all the way out to Union.
Yep. And September 23rd and 24th, Guns and Military. We're still taking consignments. The other day, I would say last week, we got in a collection of 22 snake guns. I love talking about this.
You do. You just like to say snake guns.
Cases. They're beautiful. These pythons are in excellent condition. We have
Colt pythons.
We have 2.5 to 8-inch barrel guns, blue, nickel, and stainless steel. Oh my gosh, you should see them. They're works of art. Some come with boxes, and some even have the Colt letterhead. So we're looking for more firearms for that auction in September.
And our November, we're still looking for coin-op. Don't forget. Pinball machines, slot machines, jukeboxes, anything coin-operated. Good advertising items.
What's the one thing I always ask for? Cars. For now, I'm Susan.
And I'm Randy Donley. And we'll see you at the auction.
Thanks for listening to the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer. Check out all the latest information on upcoming auctions and collectibles at DonleyAuctions.com. And while you're there, you can contact someone about buying or selling your collectibles or estates. That's DonleyAuctions.com.